Hey, welcome everybody. Appreciate you joining us today. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all joining us. Hey, let me know in the comments if you've been here before. Give me a one if you've seen our presentations before. Give me a zero in the comments if this is your first time. I know we light today, but that's all right. So we're going to have a good session, get you the information that you need in order to make a decision to see if you want to go to Brazil with us. I'm calling it Black Brazil, but it's going to be a great trip and a great time. Y'all not talking to me today, huh? Yeah, there we go. All right. Hey, Aaron, appreciate you, good brother. Thank you for being here. Man, it's your first time. All right. Well, welcome. I know a lot of new people have come into our web because we did our Black History Summit yesterday. If you weren't there, then oh man, you missed a good one. That was absolutely amazing. We celebrated Juneteenth and brought that in style. Had a great lineup of speakers and a lot of new people into our web. So I appreciate that. Where are you watching from? I'm in the south suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. Uh, yeah, and my peoples are all over the world here today, right? Where are you guys from? Y'all ain't gonna talk to me today, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna make y'all talk to me. Good brother Aaron, where are you from? I'm talking to you today, Dan. You talking with me. Where are you tuned in from? All right, we got New Orleans and California. Oh, okay, so it's still pretty early over there. What was I watching about New Orleans earlier? Oh, that's interesting. Just put that down. All right, and good old Cali. All right, I appreciate y'all. Okay, Chicago, South Side is in the house. Hey, Barbara, how you doing? Appreciate you joining us as usual. I'm in the south suburbs of Chicago. Hey, all right, so we're talking about going to Brazil today. I'm wondering, have any of you been to, have you been to South America, right? Give me a one in the comments if you've been to South America. And give me another zero, I guess, if you haven't, right? So yes or no. Oh, okay. Barbara has been. Where did you go, Barbara? I'm just kind of curious. I am looking forward to getting to Brazil. I'm really excited about that. Okay. Aaron hasn't been. Michelle says no. Okay. What is it about Brazil that's drawing y'all in? Now I know the deep African history that's there. I know the wonderful foods that are there. I know the culture, the atmosphere. I'm just kind of wondering, do any of you have roots in Brazil? I'm wondering about that. That would be interesting. Rio, all right, Rio. Rio is drawing me in. All right, period, right? I just want to see this beautiful place and these beautiful people down there, right? Do you know that Brazil actually has more Africans, people of African descent than the United States? Are any of you aware of that? Yes or no? I'm wondering about that. I believe there's 135 million Afro-Brazilians in the country. Yeah, like they never show. It's like anytime you go anywhere in the world, right? We're always not always, but oftentimes we're marginalized and pushed to the sidelines. And that conversation and that narrative is never shared. So I'm excited that we'll get an opportunity to share that with our community while we go on our trips to Brazil for the first time, right? So 2025 will be the first time that we are taking our groups, our Sankofa experiences to Brazil. I'm super excited about that. I haven't been to the country myself just yet. So I'm looking forward to getting my tourist on, right? And learning more about African culture in the African diaspora, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is bring up my slide presentation. And then I'm gonna jump into this so that we can get to the facts. Then y'all can ask any of the questions that you have. And we will get it on from there. All right. I did this without a problem yesterday, and then now all of a sudden today I'm fumbling around. There we go. All right, got that click, got that click. Bam. So let's dive in. All right. So since Aaron at least hasn't seen us before, I'll go through our formal presentation, but I'll make it quick. Welcome to Sankofa Experiences. Black History Travel Made Easy. That's what we do here at the organization. Black History Made Easy is our thing, but it's not only our mantra, it's our promise. We go out of our way to make sure that learning Black history and experiencing it through our travel arm is fun and easy as possible. And we'll talk about that as we go along today. But let me give you a little video.
In America, my name is Crystal Taylor, and I was born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois, and currently live in the south suburbs of Chicago. But just now today, I have been given my Ghanaian name of Adwa Mansa. It's Adwa Mansa. Mansa. Adwa Mansa. Mansa. Adwa Mansa. Mansa. And today, when I saw what was going to happen on this trip, I knew that this would be the moment that would break me. Because I wanted to be here for so long. And at 46, I'm finally actualizing this dream. And I feel such a connection, such a warmth and welcome from our African family. And it means so much because in America we've been taught that we're not liked here, we're not wanted here. But there's been nothing but love and excitement to see us. And today to be given my name from the village chiefs, I can't explain how it feels. And I can't stop crying because it feels so good. Because I feel so loved here. It feels like home. And I'm just grateful. I'm really glad that I've had this experience. And I just couldn't expect to ask for anything else.
Yeah, that's kind of the thought and the feelings that come through on our cultural experiences here at Sankofa Experiences. Yeah, so you get a lot of that. Oh, am I at the end? I must be at the wrong place. Hold on, let me come back. That's a lot of the experience that you get though when you travel with us on our Sankofa Experiences. Yeah, I had that in the wrong spot. I'm so sorry about that. All right, I'm gonna get it right. Take two, right? That is a good intro to what we do because it's not just about travel. It's not about just going to stick your toes in the sand, but it's about having different experiences and bonding with the cultures and the communities in which that we travel into. I cannot move this. What is going on? All right, there we go. All right, now we going. All right, everything is gonna give me some trouble here today, but we gonna get through this. Bam. All right, let me get back to the presentation. But that was a good introduction, again, to the feeling and the warmth that you get with traveling with Sankofa Experiences, again, because it's not just about putting your toes in the sand and seeing some monuments. It's about having these cultural experiences. And good brother Jay is going to talk a little bit more about that. But let me dive into my actual presentation. I was trying to keep that back. Here we go. Greetings, I'm Freddie Taylor, CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals, and we are behind the Sankofa Experiences. This is where Black History Travel Made Easy is not just our mantra, it's a promise. Our mission? To reconnect you with your roots, your culture, and the history of the African diaspora, now spanning across 10 African nations and the vibrant cultures of Colombia and Brazil. The Sankofa Experiences is expanding. We've crafted curated group travel experiences that do more than just visit. They immerse, they educate, they transform. From the historic forts of Ghana to the bustling markets of Nigeria, the serene beaches of the Gambia to the rugged mountains of Morocco, and beyond, even South Africa and South America, each destination holds a special place and part of our story. Embarking on these Sankofa journeys means more than just exploring more landscapes. It means walking in the footsteps of the ancestors, embracing the diversity of our heritage and seeing the world through a lens of understanding and appreciation. It's a group experience where every traveler is a thread in the fabric of the shared narrative, making the journey safe, engaging, and unforgettable. So are you ready to embark on this adventure? to explore, to learn, to celebrate the legacy that connects us all. Join us in the Sankofa experiences, proudly powered by urban intellectuals. The only thing missing is you. Yes, that's what I was looking for, right? Okay, there we go. So that is the official overview of what we do here at Sankofa Experiences, here powered by Urban Intellectuals. Well, my name is Freddie Taylor. I'm the CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals. Again, Black History Made Easy is our mantra. That's what we do, but it's also a promise. And we deliver with products like this, like our world famous Black History flashcards. We sold over 500,000 of these, all 50 states internationally, seen in Target, Essence, NPR, News One, Fox Soul, and many, many other places. But we don't just have these products. We actually have 18 physical products that we sell, all centered around Black history and culture. We have the #1 Black History Club for children called the Sankofa Club. Over 250 classes, 500 students. It's available 24/7. We've recently added Black History classes for adults. So we're expanding our offering, but I bring all of that up to say we are a Black history company. At our core, we are a Black history company. So moving beyond products and services, we moved into this travel arm to have Black history travel experiences. So instead of just learning about the history and culture, we decided that it would be a great idea to take people to see the history and culture up close and personal. We started in October of 2022 with our very first trip. And we had 40 of our customers and fans join us on that trip. This is Dad. He came as well. He's 93 years young on this particular trip. So we're in Cairo, Egypt, overlooking the Nile River there in the back. You see us here in front of the Great Pyramids. But this is when the Black History travel experiences were born via the Sankofa experiences, right? So Sankofa, I realize everybody doesn't know this word, is a language, is a word out of the Tweed language of Ghana, right? From the Akan people, that means to go back and get it. So you go back and get your history, go back and get your culture, go back and get your heritage and bring that forward with you. And that's what Sankofa means. So Sankofa experiences is literally Black history travel experiences, right? Going back to get our history, culture, and heritage and bringing that forward with us. So if you see that word, it means a lot more than just what it appears to be. But since that date, we've taken 277 people on 20 trips to 6, it should be 8 African countries. And we went to Senegal and the Gambia just in May. But this is the Urban Intellectuals Sankofa Experiences. It was born. Now, what makes us different? Why travel with us? I can tell you it's the experience. It's the people that travel with us. It's traveling with a group of Black people that are interested in their history and their culture. And I often tell the Aisha story here because we met Aisha on cruising down the Nile. If you come to Egypt with us, there's a 3-day cruise down the Nile. It's a beautiful experience, but docked on another boat. You can see on the left, Aisha is across on a different boat. But she wandered over to the ledge and started to meet and interact with our group. Our group is all us, right? All Black folks that are interested in learning about our history and our culture and reconnecting with the African diaspora. But Aisha traveled with somebody else. She traveled with those people that didn't look like her, didn't come from places that she came from. And as a result, her experience wasn't centered in the travel adventure, right? Others were centered in that experience, and she kind of felt like an outsider in the group because she couldn't really bond with her people. She wandered over to the ledge and came over to our group and said, man, I really wish I would have traveled with y'all because it seemed like y'all are having fun. Y'all know how Black folks get down, right? Black people like to have a good time. We're always laughing, we're engaging, but more importantly, the experience is centered around us and we're in the center of it and everything is catered to us. And you don't have that awkward communication with people that don't understand our language, don't understand our culture, our heritage, and who we are. So here at Urban Intellectuals Sankofa Experiences, you're always going to get us. Your experiences are always going to be centered, and you're going to feel whole and part of the group. And it's just a beautiful experience. And this is my wife and I are here in Egypt. We went on that adventure together. I took Dad, had to bring her back. And this is Mr. Jay Cameron that I'm gonna bring up in just a second, and he's gonna go through the details of our trip to Brazil. But then on that trip, we crossed the continent and went directly into Ghana, and that's there on the right at the Sky Bar overlooking the city of Accra. On this beautiful adventure, right? Learning about the African diaspora, learning about our history, reconnecting with our culture and our people and our communities. And that's why we've come together today. We come together today to talk about doing just that in Brazil, right? Of all places, right? But I think a lot of people don't really understand the connection between the continent of Africa, Brazil, and the Africans here in the United States, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through this. But I want to bring up our Chief Travel Officer, right? Mr. Jay Cameron is who puts all of this stuff together. But I want to do Jay the decent service of reading his bio so you know exactly who is coming in and talking to you. I always appreciate you, good brother. But okay, so today it's my pleasure to introduce the man with the plan, our Chief Travel Officer, Mr. Jay Cameron. With a rich background in travel, Jay has journeyed through over 23 African countries, pioneered exclusive Black travel experiences for our community. He has been to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, the slave dungeons of West Africa, the Great Pyramids of Kemet, the lush landscapes of South Africa, and many places in between. Jay is building bridges so that we can reconnect with the African diaspora, starting with these experiences. His profound expertise in traveling the African diaspora is truly remarkable, making him a sought-after resource and a valuable asset for our organization and community. Let's get excited for Mr. African Diaspora himself, my man, Mr. Jay Cameron. How you doing today?
Hey, Freddie, how you doing? How is everything going?
It's good, brother. Good. What you got for the people today? You ready for
Well,
it?
I'm ready. And the thing is, I heard about your summit yesterday. I heard all went well. I heard you were excited. So that's a good thing. I'm always excited to talk to the UI family, Urban Intellectual Sankofa Experiences family, because we have been taking, how many people now is it total? Almost 300 people to the continent?
277. We're about to go over the 300 mark.
That's right. It's coming up in August. You're going to be, I think it's going to be right at it or very, very close to it.
Yeah.
To the 300 mark. We need to commemorate something once we get number 300, because that's huge. In a year and a half, you're talking about it'd be almost a little bit more than that. About almost 300.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. I muted you. I got slick on the mute button.
Yeah. Hey, I got it. I understand. So yeah. But now, what you were saying a moment ago about Brazil.
Yeah.
And the importance of Brazil when it comes to the African diaspora. Oftentimes we think of Brazil for whatever reason. It could be all kinds of things. Party time, carnival, the fellas going to Brazil, all kinds of things. But the thing is that they miss out on this important history. And I actually spent 13 days in Brazil not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago, in Rio de Janeiro in particular. And it's something about Rio, it's something about Salvador. We're going to talk about both of those places. But it's parts of Brazil feel more African than parts of Africa. It's a very interesting kind of dynamic. And that's something that I experienced more so in Salvador than I did in Rio. I didn't think Rio had much of an African culture, but the interesting part about Rio is that it is a merging of the three dominant cultures in South America, in Brazil in particular. So you have the indigenous people; those are the people who were already there in Brazil and South America before anyone came. Come along, here come the Portuguese and the French and the British and the Spanish and everybody's coming, they were just fighting each other all throughout that part, the Americas. And then of course, the Africans were brought over, and then you see where all of these cultures merge. In Rio, in particular, you see the merging of the cultures. In Salvador, you see more of the African culture. But in Rio, you have this African culture, this vibe that is something I didn't expect, and had the best time. The food was the best food. I know you said Senegal held it down, but and I was right there with you. Senegal did hold it down. So,
Yeah.
but somehow Rio came in with the food, and I didn't expect it. And but it was international. It was an international kind of vibe, meaning the Peruvian food. They had that. They had the Italian. They had all kinds of foods. But then they had this Brazilian food thing happening that was just. I mean, it was something special. So anyway,
Yeah.
I have a feeling Brazil is going to really be up there at the top of the list. I know Ghana and Egypt and South Africa running away with it real strong so far, but I have a strange feeling that Brazil is going to bring it home just because of the variety of things that you do, and I'll talk about that. So anyway, I'm gonna jump in here and unless you have something else, I don't want to.
No. Go ahead, brother. Let me get out the way. You can go and get down and share. I know the people want to get to the information, so let me get out of the way and do your thing, good brother Jay.
All right, let's do it. All right, what's going on, everyone? Again, my name is Jay Cameron, and representing the Sankofa experiences powered by Urban Intellectuals. And so, what we're going to talk about is how you can go to Brazil. And you're going to two cities in Brazil, and both of them have a very, very important history as it pertains to the African diaspora. Now, there's so much I want to tell you, but I can't tell you because it's almost like if I tell you too much, it's like you got to go see. But I will tell you this much. I went to a spot in Rio, and you know how when you're told stories about this is what happened here, and right here, this occurred, and so in your mind, you just kind of, everything is subjective. So yeah, you just kind of put it together like, okay, I assume it happened this way. Well, what happened in this particular museum is they said, well, this museum was on top of this thing. And I looked, and they said, and they left a area where you could look, and I looked down, and I said, oh, wow. I said, okay, this is the most profound thing I've seen in all of my travels, and in all of my travels, everywhere. And I looked, and I said, wow. I said, this really did happen here. This isn't just a story. This is something I see. I'm looking at it right now. And that was so powerful because what Brazil does is connects dots. When you start searching the African diaspora and traveling the African diaspora, it's really connecting these different dots. And when you connect a dot, it begins to tell a piece of the story that a history book can't tell you. I mean, it might try to tell you, but when you're standing right there in the space, it just hits you differently, and you're learning about what was going on and where people came from. And so, an interesting thing I did, Freddie, I don't know if I told you this, but in Brazil, what ends up happening, I would always ask. I said, well, where do you all think you came from? As far as your African history. So I was talking to the gentleman. He said, well, I believe my family came from Angola. That's what he says. And Mozambique. Now, I'm thinking to myself, now Mozambique is clear on the other side of the continent. You got Angola in Central West Africa. Mozambique is in Southeast Africa. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting combination. That could be the case. I said, hey, why don't you want to verify? You sure you want to know? He's like, honestly, we really don't know where we came from. He said, we don't know. And it was also interesting when I was there. There were some people. I was at Sugarloaf Mountain, and when I was coming off of Sugarloaf Mountain, I looked at the people, and now I can kind of tell where people come from, just where I can kind of look at them and say, oh, they came from, so I can look at them and say, no, they came straight from somewhere in Africa. They're definitely not from Brazil. I kind of looked, and I don't know, maybe I was profiling, I don't know, but I was right. So I asked him, I saw the flag, And I said, what country is that? And he started speaking in Portuguese. I said, well, either this is Angola or this is a Mozambique. So he said, I said, Mozambique. I said, oh, okay. But the interesting part about the people from Mozambique, they also look like they're from South Africa. Why? Because they're from that same region. These borders are artificial borders just made up by colonizers, when during the Berlin Conference. So it was interesting because just having a conversation with them and them now they're visiting Brazil, they're having this connection. But the gentleman that I was telling you about, I got him to take a DNA test. And I got 2 people to take a DNA test, actually. And so we're going to find out, all right, what happened there? All right. What I do, Freddie, I set the balloons off. I don't know if I did what I do. Is that the balloon thing? Is that the side of the balloons? So I got them to take the DNA test. That's you, Freddie. So we're going to get the results of their test. I just did it the other day when I was there. And so right now I'm actually at the Red Sea in Egypt. But when I get back to the States, I'm going to drop it off and we'll get the results. And of course, we'll be sharing it. But I say this because when you look at the people, many times you can't tell. They look like those of us from other parts of the African diaspora. In the U.S., you just can't tell the difference. As a matter of fact, let me pull up a picture for you to take a look at. All right, this picture right here. This is when I was in Salvador in the state of Bahia. Bingo. That's me and this brother right here. He's straight up from Brazil. And so here I am with my United States, stuff going on. So, I didn't get a chance to do his DNA, but we didn't have to really do a whole lot of conversing at this point because we saw the similarities and we knew, and that's one of the reasons why we took the pictures together, because we're like, wow, okay, this is very interesting. And so that is what happens when you start traveling throughout the African diaspora. You start getting connections. And as a matter of fact, when I was leaving Brazil, and Freddie, I may or may not have told you this. I think I might have mentioned this when we chatted before. When I was leaving Brazil, I was getting on the plane and I looked at the brother's name and the name, I said, well, that name is definitely not from Brazil. And I looked at him and I said, chances are he's not from Brazil either. So I asked him, I said, hey, where are you from? He said, I'm from Sierra Leone. And I said, I said, guess what? I said, I'm a descendant of Sierra Leone too. And I said, the Timini people. And he said, I'm Timini. And so these, when you travel and you start seeing, and so in that moment, everything that he thought about Black Americans was being torn down, because now he's meaning the negative things that he was told, because he's now meeting someone who has this legitimate connection. And he got back, he came on the plane, started talking to me, and he almost got in trouble because he was talking to me so excited about this connection. And so when you do this and allow yourself to have these experiences, it does something to you. And that's what we want for you to be able to have. So let's take a look at some of what you can experience when you go on this trip. So now the first thing that's going to happen is that you're going to go, you're going to land and fly into Rio de Janeiro. All right, so you're going to fly into GIG. That is the airport. So when you fly into GIG, we're going to pick you up from the airport. You don't have to worry about being transferred or anything like that. That is a part of your package. There's no visa requirement right now to go into Brazil. All right, so that's another thing. No vaccination requirements unless you're coming from a country with yellow fever. So there we go. Some of the big concerns that people have are taken out of the way, so you don't have to worry about it in that regard. You will need a passport. You will need a passport. You cannot go to Brazil with your driver's license. So let's just make that very, very clear. And you cannot go to Brazil on your passport card, because some people say, well, I got my passport card. No, you need your passport book. And for U.S. citizens, you do not need a visa currently. So they've been kind of toying around with that whole thing. I don't think it's going to manifest, only because of the economic implications that it would have for Brazil. So that covers that. So your passport, we'll make sure that you are picked up from the airport and And just to also let you know, your package does not include international airfare. However, there is a flight inside of Brazil that it does include that flight. Here are a couple of other things to just to kind of note right here. Ground transportation, again, just reiterating that it does not include international airfare. Single occupancy hotel upgrades available upon request, and of course, you have all the amenities, and the admission to all activities are covered. And then here's some things that are not included. Your passport is not included. Your visa, you won't need it, is not included if you're coming from the U.S. or a U.S. citizen. Your international airfare is not included. Your travel insurance with medical and cancel any reason are not included. Lunch and dinner not included. Gratuities are not included. And so we just want to let you know this on the front end, as before you, obviously as you're planning to take this experience. So now, here's what the itinerary is looking like, but let me take you over here to glance at the itinerary, because I want you to see a little bit more of, let's see here. I want you to see what the itinerary looks like and how this whole thing shakes down, because I want you to, there we go. All right, so day one, you're going to fly into Rio de Janeiro, and this is happening September 1st through the 25th, 2025. So you have more than a year to pay for this. We have payment plan available. The deposit is low, only $199 down. That's it, and you have more than a year to pay for it. So that's just to kind of put it into perspective. So day one, you arrive at Rio de Janeiro, and then you'll be taken to the hotel. And so there are lots of hotels on Copacabana, and so there's so many that I liked. But you have the Windsor Collection that's on the Copacabana. As a matter of fact, let me bring up the Copacabana. I want y'all to see what this is looking like. It's right here. This is something special right here. Yeah, this right here is something special. Copacabana Beach. It was spectacular. That's right. I loved every bit of it. Lots of energy, lots of restaurants, lots of things to do, see, hear, all of that happening at Copacabana. All right, so now, so with that, let me turn that down just a little bit. Looked like it got a little hot. So you have the Windsor Collection. So those are some hotels that we use. You have your JW Marriott. If you really want to go on the high end, you have the Fairmont Hotel. I can tell you like this: I would not take a group any place other than Copacabana Beach. Ipanema, whatever, is nice, but it's kind of off to the action is a Copacabana. That's all I got to say. You can go out of the hotel, any hotel, go right out to the beach, walk right across the road. You're right there on Copacabana Beach. There are restaurants that are open till 2 o'clock in the morning. There's always something going on. You can look and you can see, and everybody was chill. No, there was nothing. I didn't see any wild behavior or anything like that. I didn't see people running loose in the streets, and some of the narratives that Rio de Janeiro has. So I didn't say. I'm sure it's there. Don't get me wrong. If brothers are running down there, I know what's going on. So, but I didn't see any of that happening. So let me just preface it and say it like that. But it was really a really chill experience, and so much to see and do. So let's talk a little bit more about what to see and do. So on the next day, you'll get a chance to go to the different landmarks that folks like to see. The Christ Redeemer. You catch the train. There's a train. I didn't even know trains could handle angles the way that the angles went. Going up to see the statue, and then you also do Sugarloaf Mountain. That's another landmark right there, and you catch the cable car to the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. There's a restaurant at the top. It's a really cool experience, and we make sure we knock out those on day 2. Then comes day 3. You get to be a part of this cooking class. And the lady's name is Simone. She is something special. She just, I didn't know if I was going to really like the food, but she did such a great job. And in her doing it, it was just like, wow, you began to understand that there was much more to this Brazil story because the food was right there. So you make the food, and the food is so good. Let's see. Can I take you inside of this experience real quick? Let's see. I want to take you inside of this experience with maqueca. Yeah. So that was. She was getting down, and it was just great to be able to cook and prepare the food, and the food was great. Sometimes you might cook something that might be a little, I'm not sure about this. Did it all the way up. It was really, really special. She has this personality that's just full of energy. She needs her own TV show, to be honest with you. She needs her own TV show. She's just a ball of energy and charismatic, but really knows her stuff, and also knows her audience very well. And so that was, again, when I go travel and I go look to see what we're going to do, I curate it like it's a production and you have a cast and you cast it. And so Simone definitely did it. So her cooking class will be a part of the experience. Then also, you'll get the Little Africa tour. So you get the cooking class and you go to Little Africa, and this is where you start seeing the African landmarks in Rio de Janeiro. And that's where you go to that place where you'll see what I was talking about that was so profound. And I'll make sure that you see it and know exactly what I'm talking about, because it is a must-see. They have a baobab tree that was brought there from Madagascar or Senegal. I think it might have been Senegal. You see that tree right there is growing and doing what it does. And you begin to learn about the history of the Africans in Brazil. That's right, not the Portuguese, but the Africans. And that's what the Little Africa tour will do. Then, of course, you go to the Celeron Steps on day 4. You get some shopping, and then you get the samba show. And I'm gonna tell you, this show is special. Everything we do, the shows are special. But I want to take you inside of the show so you can see for yourself. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a little more of that in a second. So what that show did was it really highlighted all of the different cultures. So you do get to see the indigenous, you get to see some of the Portuguese, you get a chance to see the African. That's what you were starting to get a touch of right there. At the end, I'm gonna give you a little bit more of it when we talk about Salvador. But now here you are, you have Little Africa. Now you're going to the Samba show. You have a chance to shop. That's something that's very important to understand, that folks like to shop. That's all I got to say. If you like to shop, just put a 3 in the chat. If you like to shop, if that's your thing, it's all good. We understand. So then you're in the heart of Rio. You're really becoming connected. And then we take you on a favela tour. And you get a chance to go to the favela community. And this community right here it just embodies resourcefulness. And you see these people are living on the mountain, but they have their own community and culture and vibe. And they're supposed to be, they would classify a lot of these places as the slum. But when you get in there, you're like, wait a minute, they have boutiques and hair salons and grocery stores. And, You said, what is going on? I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I've been to Kibera in Kenya, and they have their own culture and vibe. And I've been to other places and seen how the resourcefulness is there among the people. But it's something special about these favelas, and you have a chance to go and see for yourself. And then there's the sunset boat cruise. Now, this is not your average sunset boat cruise. When we do this, we do it right. You know, we make sure that everything is on point, and we do special things. I was telling our guy here in Egypt, Prince. I was telling him, I said, I always find myself on water in every place, and somehow I'm finding myself on some water. And so that's what there's no different in Brazil, and you're there and you see the sunset, and it's just a beautiful experience, and you will not want to miss it. This is really a special curated trip. That's why I tell you, it's going to be one of those ones that's really at the top of what we do. And, you know, this is when we talk about a Sankofa experience, it is real. So then the next thing, you get ready to travel to Salvador in the state of Bahia. So you're going to go to Salvador, and that's going to be a domestic flight. So just you will fly into Rio, and you're going to fly out of Rio when you go back home. But you're going to take this domestic flight to Salvador in Bahia, and then you're going to begin to go through the Salvador experience, the Soul, you're going to be the Pelourinho, the African Museum. You're going to have all of this, the Yoruba culture, because the Yoruba is huge in Salvador. Now, please, everybody, I'm not saying El Salvador. Let me come on the screen, because some people, you talking about El Salvador? No, not El Salvador. This is Salvador in the state of Bahia in Brazil. And so when you go to Nigeria, there's a huge Afro-Brazilian community. So now here we are. We're talking about Angola, Nigeria. I can't wait for these DNA results to come back to see where folks coming from. You know, is Angola really in there, or is this more Nigeria? You know, because it's, you know, Nigeria and Benin and Togo used to be called the Slave Coast, and going into parts of what we know as Cameroon today. So it's very interesting. Now, I do know Angola played a major part, because Angola is right across from Brazil. And so is South Africa, ironically. When you look at the map, you can see Brazil is so large, and you can just see how coming right across would be very easy. But when you go to Nigeria, in Lagos, there is a huge Afro-Brazilian community. They have the Afro-Brazilian Museum. You see the architecture that was built by the Brazilians who came back to Nigeria. And it, you know, obviously it has the Portuguese influence because of the way it's built. But, you know, this is just a part of all of these different connections. So Yoruba in South America, in Brazil, but then you have Yoruba in Nigeria. And they have the same culture and the same practice. It's very interesting. Now, what happened in Brazil is that when the Portuguese pretty much followed the Catholics. So and you'll find the dominant religion in Brazil is Catholicism. That's the dominant religion. I don't want to say state sanctioned, but it's the one culturally that dominates Brazil. So what would happen is that when people would come over or were taken over, they were forbidden from practicing their indigenous religions, and they were oftentimes being forced into being baptized into Catholicism. But what they did, and this is what you see in Salvador, what they did was they kind of did a fake me out. Said, okay, you're going to make us, you know, follow what you're following. But we're going to make you think we're following that, but we're still going to follow what we follow the way that we do it. So you see their shrines, and of course you go in, you see all the Catholic symbols, but then you see something else going on. And that's why I say it's very interesting, because you're able to see this story happens all over the world, where people were forced to, you know, into the different cultural religions, and then they somehow still held on to their indigenous practices. You know, and it's just interesting from a knowledge perspective, regardless of whatever your beliefs are. It's just interesting to sit back and say, wow, this is what they did. When I was in Benin in West Africa, I went into they call it the sacred forest. And so they had these different statues and of these different deities and everything, and walked up to this one statue and I looked at it and I said, this looks really interesting. But it was where they had a statue of the Catholic priest and I guess a voodoo deity, and they were blended together and into one. And I said, now this, you just, like I said, this is very interesting just to kind of see how things happen in the world and, the things that you learn. So when you go back and have a conversation, it's no longer just from, I heard somebody tell me, it's like, wow, look at this. This is, now made me ask more questions, like how did the two merge together? It would seem like they might be in conflict. Well, again, now, and then I went over to Brazil and gain more insight to say, okay, this is how many people had to survive and how they had to cope. The other beautiful part about going to Salvador is this is where I really felt a connection. I'm Gullah Geechee, South Carolina, that whole deal. And I sat down and started eating the food, and I'm looking at the food, and I'm saying, y'all got black eyed peas and rice down here? What's going on in Brazil? What? Y'all got this okra? What's happening? But then you go to West Africa, they have the okra. You go down the South, they have the okra. You go to Louisiana to get that gumbo and all that okra mixed in. You go to Charleston and Savannah, you have the okra soup. You find this okra thing happening right there in Salvador. I didn't see it so much in Rio, but when I got to Salvador, I was like, now look at this. I said, why didn't they tell me this in the history books? Well, let me just take a few minutes. I'm gonna take you inside of some of my memories in Salvador, and we'll talk about how you can get signed up for this amazing trip coming up next year in South America.
All the rituals, all the tradition, all the culture, all the language, all the cuisine, all the dance, all the literature, all that we have was brought by Africans. And I can say easily, if it was not because of the African presence in Brazil, Brazil wouldn't be what it is today. (1674) construction. Indigenous killing a snake. The snake represents the colonialism, and we say this is the end.
Amo de verdade, oh, aguento mais, e rola entre a gente, nós trabalhamos.
All right. Hey, I had to take you inside of some of that. And that's just we're just giving you snippets of what this experience is all about and what you can anticipate. But just know, and I don't know if you can feel the excitement that I have about Brazil. It's just kind of like you really want to be on this trip. It's one of those ones that you don't want to miss out on. We already have folks signed up for it. We're excited about it because we know that I know, and the team knows that when you go, all of the different things that you're going to see and experience from two major historical sites in South America. It just connects on so many different levels, and you'll have so many different experiences and see so many different things that when you walk away from it, you'll say, wow, there's an energy in Salvador. There's an energy in Rio. As a matter of fact, let me show you some of this energy. I mean, it's just like a vibe, Check it out. This is just on a Sunday afternoon. Folks just out doing their thing. Just chilling, on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, it was just a melting pot. It was a melting pot of people. And I'm not one. I don't like to be all out in crowds like that and people I didn't even care. I was like, man, this is what it's all about. I felt like I was home. Nobody bothered me. Nobody. It was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I was in Rio. And so that's one of the things that we say, hey, for those who want to get out and about and just kind of, for those who like to party, there's plenty of party time. Rio is a party city, and it's just a really cool place. If you just want to chill, you can chill. If you want to eat and go by the beach, you can do all of that. You absorb the history, the culture, the vibe, the food, the fashion, the shopping, all of that's right there between those two major cities in Brazil. And so, when you, we'll be there. Obviously, you're going to do the Afro-Brazilian tour. You're going to get that. You're going to get some beach time in Bahia as well. So I'm back in Salvador right now. And then you head on back on day 10. So it's a 10-day experience. You head on back to Rio from Salvador and you head home. So the dates, so you can see everything right here. This is when it's happening, September 1st through the 10th, 2025. So again, you have more than a year. You have approximately 14, 15 months in order to make this happen. Here's what the pricing looks like. And I'll get to some of your questions in a moment. And you can see the link right there on the bottom of the slide, but I'm sure they'll drop it in the chat for you, for those who are interested. So here's the pricing. All right. $52.99 double occupancy per person, and that is per person. So if it's two people, you just double that. Then you have $61.99 single occupancy per person. But the beautiful part about this is that all you need in order to secure your space is $199 down. That's it. And then you get so it's an interest-free payment plan, and you sign up, and then you make the payments each month. And you're on your way to Brazil in 14, 15 months. That's really how it all breaks down. Now, but wait, you know how to say it, but wait, there's more. Now, for those who take advantage of this opportunity today, we're going to do something special for you. And we want to make this even better, because that's something that we want to do for you. You're interested, you're serious, you're saying, listen, I'm ready to make this move and go see Brazil. I've heard about it. I want to go with people that I trust. I want to make sure that I'm connected with people that I trust and know. I've seen a track record where they're consistently doing this and talking about these travel experiences to the African diaspora, and you're ready to join us. Well, you put the $199 down, and what we'll do, you do that today, we'll take $300 off. And that's booking and making sure that everything is done by midnight Eastern Standard Time. Midnight Eastern Standard Time, $300 off per person. All right? Per person. So two people, $300 comes off, and you can see how the price comes down when you see that. So what was $52.99 now comes under $5,000, now you're at $49.99. So you can kind of do the math and go from there. And then that's for each person. So 2 people, now you get a $600 savings when you do it. And you do it by midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight, June 20th. Now, for some reason, you can't do that. And you're like, okay, I need to talk to a couple of folks. I need to see what's going on. Then by the 21st, by midnight, then we'll take $150 off per person, and that will happen. So you sign up, and then we'll see that you signed up and when you signed up, and then we'll deduct it from your balance within 24 to 48 hours after your booking, and then you're plugged in. It's a very easy process. You'll be able to see how much your payments are before you decide to purchase. So that all of that is spelled out right there in front of you. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go over to that page in a second and walk you through just kind of a sample of what it looks like to book. But some other questions now, why join a Sankofa experience? You get to travel with other Black people. Of course, other ethnicities are welcome, but you will definitely see other Black people on a Sankofa experience. You're going to experience the motherland and the African diaspora from an Afrocentric focus. You can travel in safety with experienced and trusted operators and guides and staff. You connect with your history. You can see what the world has to offer outside of the USA. And you can experience a culture like nothing you've experienced before. And I can tell you, Brazil definitely has multiple cultures like you've never seen before. But you also feel like you came home. And I'm telling you, that's why we picked Brazil, because it has that come home feeling in many places. And then you find new travel family and previous guests have created bonds for life. And that's what we've seen time and time again. People have come on these experiences. They've been like, you know what, we're going to travel again. And we've seen individuals travel with us 2 and 3 times. Some people have been with us 4 times, and we've only been doing this a little over a year and a half. So there's something happening, and the synergy is there, and the connection is there because, and there's a hunger for this information, not just the head knowledge, but the actual 5 sensory experience. And this is what we're able to offer you when you become a part of the Sankofa Experience Travel family. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what we do. We've been consistent with it, and we're always excited to share these experiences. Now, what does it look like when you're ready to book? Because that's something that a lot of people ask. Okay, so you go to the website and you click, and you see everything right here. And so let's just do, we'll just do a double occupancy just for the sake of the example. So you click on the amount of travelers. So let's say it's 2 travelers. That's per person. All right. So then you click continue after that. All right. So now if you want to pay in full, you can. And all right, great. Everything is nice and clear. All right. So then, but some people say, well, you know what? I'm going to do the installments. There we go. And so now it runs everything down for you right there. You can see all of the payment breakdown. So you see the payment schedule. You're going to pay $398 due today and 14 monthly installments of $728.57. So it tells you the first payment is going to be $715.24, and then the last payment is going to be $815.25. 0 plan fees. And what we'll do after that, once you book, we will then come and deduct the $300 per person if you do it by the date and time tonight, midnight Eastern Standard Time, or the $150 if you do it by tomorrow and the 21st, midnight Eastern Standard Time. It's very easy. And then you'll click continue to checkout. And then once you, I'm clicking the Zoom page. Let me go back over. There we go. All right. So, and then it goes to, if you're a new customer, you fill out the information. If you're a returning customer, then you will sign into your account, and then it'll walk you through the process. And then you obviously do the verification code, go through all of that. For those who want to use Affirm on one of the other platforms here, you can use Affirm, or obviously that's up to you if that's what you want to do. And so you have the option to do that. Very, very easy process. And by it being an easy process, you can sign up, get plugged in, and by getting plugged in, you'll be on your way to Salvador, you'll be on your way to Rio, you'll be on your way to an amazing experience that I promise you will not regret it. You are going to be in for the time of your life. And I'm going to be on this trip in September 2025. So folks seem to enjoy when I go on a trip for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I enjoy being there, and they enjoy being there. And we want you to be there. That's the bottom line. We want you to be there. And I want you all to take this picture when you go. All right, this picture right here. This is in Salvador. So the ladies there, they this is how they make money. But what was interesting is that when I went to go take the picture with them and I wanted to give them money, they said, no, we will not take money from you. We will not. No, this is our gift to you. That's what they did. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? No, I want to give you some money. They were like, no, you will not give us money. Another thing that I had a chance to do, I was, went the local route. So you're going to get all of that nice stuff. But I took the local route, and I went to one of the local restaurants during the walking tour and found myself with some rice. All right, I'm here in Rio de Janeiro, and I'm about to get some beans and rice. Y'all know I like that rice and so this is like an authentic experience. Not too much, because there's much more food on the way, and the food experience is something I don't want to miss out on. And so now, going back in the back, ooh, this smells like South Carolina. Oh my goodness. It smells like South Carolina. I mean, I feel like I just went back into the low country, all my low country people. Oh man, some popping jaws. So, that's all I need right here. All right, I just wanted to give y'all just a little sample of that. I mean, it's so much, and I'll make sure you have that experience. They're big on the black beans and rice thing, so over in Costa Rica they do a beans and rice thing that they have there. Of course, Jamaica has rice and peas, and then there, and that was in Rio. They got the black bean. I mean, that thing, I can smell it. As soon as I started talking about it, I started smelling it again. I was like, what have I done? So it was really, really tasty. It was really tasty. And then I'm looking to see here for any other clips. I've shown you all the clips I want to show you because I think you all have the gist of what this is all about. So now I'm here to answer some questions and see who's ready to go ahead and pull the trigger, make this thing happen, and get ready to join us next September 2025 for Sankofa Experience right in Brazil, powered by Urban Intellectuals. Let's talk. Freddie, come on. I know we got some questions that probably popped into the chat along the way.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, good brother, as usual, for a great presentation. And I failed to mention, Jay, Mr. African Diaspora is always somewhere, but he's actually in Cairo. Oh, no, you're not even in Cairo. I know you're in Egypt right now.
I'm in the Red Sea. I'm at the Red Sea at 4:03 a.m.
4:03 a.m. That's commitment, good people. I wanted to mention that.
That should be something, represent that. That should be something right there.
Yeah. Brother Jay is always locked in. All right. Salama. Did I butcher your name? Please correct me if I got that.
You said it perfectly. Accents in the proper places. Hi. I want to know about COVID issues. Are there, when you're traveling, all my friends who've gone, wherever they've gone, when they've returned home, they've always been positive. So I have a compromised immune system, and I want to know, tell me about it.
Well, I haven't heard anything any differently there about COVID than what we hear in the U.S. It has not been a concern for those who have been vaccinated, for those who decided to do that. They don't have any testing. They don't have any vaccine requirements for Brazil. Brazil is very developed. You're going to feel just like you're in pretty much any, especially in Rio, you're going to feel like you're in pretty much any U.S. city. It's very familiar. So, but there's no no warnings or anything, no conversation about it. So I haven't heard anything about any COVID issues in Brazil.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Good question. Right. That's still a concern. So it's definitely good to get those questions out. But yeah, no travel advisories or anything like that right now. All right. We got one of our basic questions. Airfare, international airfare, is that included in the package?
No, international airfare is not included. Not included. If we get enough people who are interested in a group package, then we'll explore that. But as of right now, we don't have enough people who are interested in the group package. So that's some people, you can have a large group, you can have a medium-sized group, and a lot of people use points. A lot of people book their own flights. They're like, well, I can do this or do that. I can get it. I can use my points and I can get there. So a lot of people opt to do that. And so once we get to a certain number, then that's when we'll say, hey, for those who want to book the flight, here's the option. But as of right now, no international flight is a part of the package.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, oh, you know what? This is great because Brazil isn't as far as Africa, but man, a direct flight is still 9 hours, right?
Oh man, it was 10 from Houston. It was 10.
Yeah, I see 9. Yeah, technically, yeah, 10 miles. Yeah,
So
it's still a good flight.
that's Ghana there. That's Ghana. That's a Ghana flight. So
Yeah, that's a Ghana flight. Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah. Sometimes the churches you gotta fly. Sometimes you gotta put a little effort in to get there. Don't let that flight scare you, y'all. Don't even. Don't let that flight worry you. I was one, like I told you, Freddie, I used to be afraid to fly. They just did an article on me in Brownstone magazine talking about that, how the fear of flying, had me stuck in the U.S. And I finally got on the plane. I took that 10-hour flight over to Africa, and here I am in the Red Sea. And here I was in Brazil 3 weeks ago, and I'll be in Tanzania, and I'll be, so once you do it, you don't even think about it anymore. You're like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. It's always something on the other side of it that's far more valuable than the fear factor, So, but what I do, I break up a flight, and I say, okay, like if I'm going to South Africa, which is 16 hours in the air. So how do you break up a 16-hour flight? Well, you got to get your mind right. So they say, okay, the first 2 hours are going to be dedicated to pretty much doing nothing because they're going to feed you, and that's what's going to happen the first 2 hours. Then you can, if you're not sleepy, then you catch a movie. If you're still not sleepy, catch another movie. There's plenty of movies on there. Movies you probably never watch. I mean, I was watching movies on the last flight going to Brazil, and I was like, wow, look at this. I would have never watched this movie otherwise. And it was a great movie. It was, was it Jamie Foxx, and down in The Lawyer, he was, I forget the name of the movie. It was great.
On the plane. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. It was a good movie, though. Yeah,
it was a real good movie. I was like, okay. So you just kind of get a chance to reflect and just get excited about the experience on the other side. Because I know some people are concerned about the long flights, but it's really not as overwhelming if you just kind of take your time and kind of break that flight down, get your music, set your playlist up, download your music, because if the flight doesn't have Wi-Fi, you get caught in a situation there, so download your music. If you like to read, bring your books. If you like to write, get some work done. Some people just need to sit and think. Sometimes we're so busy and we just need to be put there where we got to think. So it's all kinds of ways to make that long flight work. All right, so what other questions do we have?
Excellent. All right, good sister. Are you back? You got another question?
Yeah, I have another question. So what day do we meet at the airport on day one? What time?
Okay, great. That's a really good question. I always advise
We're all
everyone
booking from different places, So what time
Sure.
do we meet?
I recommend a window, and the window I recommend is any time between, and I'm gonna widen the window a little bit, for between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. because check-in time is usually between 2 and 3 p.m. So if you get there too early, then you're gonna have to wait to check in. If you get there too late, then now the other thing that we're looking to start doing is having our welcome dinners on day 2 instead of day 1. because this gives everybody a little bit more flexibility. So if you do get in later, then you're not, oh man, did I miss the welcome dinner? Did I miss everybody getting together? So what I saw, especially when it came to Brazil, was to do the welcome dinner on the second day. And then everybody's in, but I still recommend everybody coming in around that window so you can get in and rest, because sometimes that jet lag kicks in, even though it's not, I think it's like an hour difference from the East Coast time, so it's not too bad. Maybe, yeah, I think it's an hour difference, but it's a long, that's a long, it's a long
I'm
haul,
coming from California. I'm
Okay,
coming
so I
from
think it's either
California.
two, okay, but it might be 3 or 4 hour difference. So yeah, it might be three
It's
or four
3 hours.
hours. You're right, right.
Um,
Yeah, so it's not
so
too bad.
once we get to the airport, hang on. So once we get to the airport, we contact you. I mean, or is there a shuttle, or where do we
So
go? I mean, what? Tell me what?
tell me what. That's a great question. So
Yeah.
ahead of the
I
trip,
get to the airport. Tell me what?
yeah, even before you get to the airport, you will
Yeah.
share all of your flight information with us. So when you
Oh,
land,
right.
people will
Right. Okay.
already know they're there waiting on you with signs,
Okay.
ushering you this way, taking you to the shuttle, and then taking you off to the airport. I mean, excuse me,
Gotcha.
to the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the same on the way out, right? Like we'll know your flight time, we'll know when you're leaving, know when to get you to the airport. All of that is handled. All you have to do is get there,
Get
and then
there.
once you're there, we'll take care of it.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
good question.
welcome.
Tell me
Oh,
exactly how's this gonna
and
happen.
well,
Go ahead.
to her point, also, Freddie, one thing is that we also do culture trainings. So before you get there, you'll be prepared. So we actually have Zoom sessions where you come on and everybody comes on and they can ask questions, and then it'll prepare you for what to expect. So a day by day, here's what you can expect throughout this whole journey. Here's what to wear. Here's how to exchange your currency. Here's, we'll walk you through that process of exchanging your currency. Here's what the temperatures are going to be like. Here's maybe some things you should bring. So you will not arrive in Brazil unprepared. You'll be very prepared. You won't be traveling. If you're traveling by yourself, you will not be traveling by yourself. Once we get you, you become a part of the family. So and it's interesting to watch how everybody looks out for each other in the family. Total strangers come together. They don't know each other, never seen each other before, but you sit there and look at them, and it seems like they've known each other for their entire lives. And that's how we do it. This is bigger than just planning trips. We want you to have a great experience. We want you to feel safe. We want you to know that there are some people behind this that really do care and want to make sure that you're taken care of and that you get back home safely, so you can brag up and tell your friends and family, I guess where I went. I went to Brazil, and this is what I did. So just to let you know, no worries at all. Please don't worry at all. We'll take great care of you.
Excellent. Are you good, sister? You're fine. We're good. We're good. Or you got another question or a follow up?
Uh, um, no, I just have to keep checking my emails, I guess, for the updates after I make the decision if I'm going to plan for this trip. I find I am having a challenge finding the emails because I get too many every day. That's why. I mean, not from you, but I mean in general. So
Yeah.
I got to find your emails. I have to do the search, and keep up with the communication. But I do have a Brazilian friend who's been wanting to return to Brazil. She hasn't been back in several years, and so I'm thinking about maybe having her join me on this trip. I gotta sell it to her first.
Okay.
Um, we'll see. But I have traveled a bit. I'm not a Navy brat, but uh, I was a Navy reservist, and so I've had travel behind me, and I have all kinds of travel benefits, if you get my drift.
Mhm.
So I need to plan my thing kind of like, maybe a little different than others might be planning theirs. So those were my questions. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Appreciate that. Okay, we had a couple of other questions with the airfare. Okay, is the trip kid friendly? If so, is it friendly like Egypt or friendly like Ghana?
It's its own kind of friendly. It's a combination of the two, I would say. I mean, Egypt is its own kind of thing. Then Ghana is its own kind of thing. It's a if your children like to eat, they're gonna love it. It's a very very unique experience. So I would have to say it probably leans a little bit more Ghana, just because you don't have all of the pyramids, but you do have the statue, the Redeemer statue. You do have Sugarloaf. You do have the Sunset Cruise. So there's a lot there. There's a lot for the youth. I can tell you, this is one I would definitely recommend for the youth because it is so unique and it's very colorful. It's very vibrant. It's just a very interesting, unique experience that I don't think any young person would have difficulty with this one at all. I mean, there's some that I would say, I don't know, it might be, I don't know about that for a young person, but I don't see that problem when it comes to Brazil at all.
Yeah, I think this will be a good one. Okay, will there be a limited number of tour participants?
Well, I can tell you this. This will not be a huge trip. This is one that we're making sure that is not overwhelming. So you will not see more than 40 people on this trip. I can tell you that right now. Because the way Brazil is set up, it's just not designed to have 100 people trying to navigate and trying to do all of that. And so I can tell you that the cap would be 40. And the reason being is because we want everybody to really enjoy this experience. And what I was able to tell from going around from a logistical standpoint, that if you have more than 40, then you start running into the logistical challenges that come with just a big city. Rio de Janeiro is a big city. Salvador and Bahia is a big city. So you want to be able to help, you want people, and then you still want to have a level of intimacy with the group.
Yeah, good points there. And yeah, I know we are around, I think 15 or 16 are already on this particular trip. So, that number is dwindling down. We still got over a year out, and we're going to push this a little bit more in the coming months. So to keep that in mind, but again, it's just $199 down to lock in your price. And if you sign up by midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight, you'll get $300 off per person. And if you sign up by midnight Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, you'll get $150 off. Again, per person is just $199 down to lock in your spot. You still got 14 months-ish 13 months to go ahead and make the payments for this. And then, how the discount will happen. So say you go ahead and sign up, you put down your $199 per person tonight. You lock that in, give us 24 to 48 hours. And then we'll reduce your balance by that cost. So your down payment does go towards the payment of the trip. So it's not like an administrative fee or anything like that. It actually goes towards the trip. But then we'll knock down another $300 off per person if you sign up by midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. $150 off by midnight Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And there we are. Okay. Do you have any more questions for us? Who's going to join us in Brazil? The flight time isn't crazy. I'm glad that, it's a little bit of travel. But like Jay said, once you get used to navigating these international streets, it's really not that bad. But try to remember what's on the other side of the flight time. What's on the other side of the investment, right? Is an experience of a lifetime, probably one that you may not see anywhere else. And it's just an opportunity to come and learn with a good group of people. Oh, somebody asked Brother Jay about the tour guides and the historians. Like, will they be local Afro-Brazilians, or talk a little bit about?
They'll definitely be Afro-Brazilians, and they know their stuff. These folks that I work with, wherever I go, they know their stuff. And what I loved about Brazil is that we had multi-generational. So you had young folks, and then you had some that are middle-aged who were bringing this information. And it was, the young folks brought a whole different kind of vibe, a whole different perspective to it. and they cut right to the chase. Where like some of the middle age, they were kind of being, kind of telling it a little bit more from their generation perspective. So it was good to see how that worked and how it kind of weaved itself together. And the one thing about Brazil is that it does have, even though you have middle age and our elders, that age bracket, it still has a youthful kind of vibe to it. Even those who are middle aged and older, it's just this kind of youthful vibe, and it's just this energy that you are a part of. And so there's no way we wouldn't have someone who was local to lead us through it and to really help us to understand the culture, because they can tell you a whole different side. You have the books telling you one thing, but then they tell you this is what we were doing during this time, and this is what happened here, and this is what this wall means, and this is who this person meant, and this is what when you go to the African Museum and you see all of the African art right there in the African Museum in Salvador. I mean, it's plain as day. So
yeah. I always I laugh, and I when I laugh, but I was making a comment in when the person asked that question, and I was trying to explain, like, this is what Brother Jay does, moving around the continent of diaspora ahead of these trips. He's over there making the relationships, selecting the guides, selecting the historians, selecting the hotels, the restaurants, and having the experiences himself to make sure that when we bring a travel group over, we're not winging it, right? Like, we're not just out here and don't know what you're gonna have as an experience. He has been our crash test subject. I won't say dummy, right?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's been our crash test subject that has been, doing the legwork of making these adventures or these experiences relevant, meaningful, and powerful, right? Because he's already done the work and he's selecting the right people. So I love how you were like, oh no, the people that are working with us are thorough with their information, with their history, their culture. So it's just going to be a great experience. I'm looking forward to it. I've always wanted to go. I love to have these cultural experiences and learning and the foods. I'm glad that we got another cooking experience like Senegal. I think that's a beautiful point. Okay, as a health professional, do I need to ask, is this trip accessible? You have mentioned elders being a part of this experience.
Some places are. Most places are. Let me say that most places are accessible. Some places are not. Just depending on, but most places are, and that's something that we looked at when we were going around. And just the reality is, some for the favelas, that can be a little bit of a challenge because it's on a hill. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Same thing in Salvador. Salvador is hilly like that too, so it's kind of that up and down. But you don't have to. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. That it's anything you can tap out of. You can say, you know what, I don't want to do that right now. I want to, or you know what, that might be a little bit too much for me to do. So I'll wait here, and it won't be a hindrance to anyone because everyone understands. Like when we go to Ethiopia, you got going into the churches in Ethiopia. They dug those out of a mountain, so there are no steps. And I'm just using Ethiopia as an example that are accessible. So that's just one thing that somebody may have to look at from a different angle or kind of stay on top and look. But when it comes to Brazil, again, there are some places that are not, just simply because of when one building we went into, you can only go up steps, and that was just the way it is. They didn't have elevators in it, but going on up to the Redeemer, that you get on the train and you go up, and that's I wouldn't necessarily say you don't really have a lot of steps. If you look at it, they have elevators, so that is worked out. So those main places that people like to go to, they definitely have the accessibility.
Yeah, good answer. And that made me think, right? So while we're traveling, we always recommend cancel anytime travel insurance with medical. when you're traveling internationally. You may have excellent healthcare service here in the United States or your home country, but 9 times out of 10, probably even higher than that, 99 times out of 100, they're not going to accept your medical insurance abroad. So we always recommend, always recommend cancel anytime travel insurance with medical, because you want to make sure that if something unforeseen happens, anything can happen on a travel adventure. You just rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So so thank you for that question, because it triggered the memory for me. Like, oh, let's make sure that we drop that in there. So all right. If you don't have any more questions, let's make sure that you go ahead and sign up and catch your $300 off discount by signing up by midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. Per person, just $199 down, $52.99 double occupancy per person, $61.99 for single occupancy, and yeah, $150 off if you sign up by midnight Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. If you have any questions, like when we get off of here, you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked, you can send an email to support@sankofaexperiences.com. That's support@sankofaexperiences.com. We'll make sure that we follow up and get any answers for you. If you are interested in sharing this with a friend, in the morning, we'll send out the replay to all of this. You can share that with them. But you can go ahead and lock in your price now to get your $300 off as a single occupancy. And then if you add somebody to your room later, we can move that into double occupancy. But that way you will lock in your $300. Yeah, anything else you could think of, Brother Jay, that I'm missing?
Well, no. The canceling reason insurance, and that, one that protects your investment, and that's the one thing we want to make sure that you do. And then it also could protect your health in the event that you have, an illness or anything that can happen traveling abroad. So you want to, we always want to recommend that. The other thing is that if this is something that you want to do, go for it. That's the bottom line. If this is something that you've been waiting, you really want to go to Brazil, you want to see, then now's the time to go to Brazil and make it happen. And so we're going to do our very best to make sure that you have the best experience, and our track record is there because we have been so consistent with doing this. So I want everyone to understand, really the way that I live is tomorrow's not promised. And I was recently walking through a cemetery and just realizing how many ideas and how many I wish I would have and wanted, how many dreams are now, were buried because someone had a dream, but they didn't really want to, or they didn't execute on it. Some people aren't able to, but other people are able to, and they can do it as they're feeling it, and knowing that it's okay to go and do this if this is what you want to do. And so we're just a vehicle to help you get there, and that's something that we're here for, to bridge that gap between Africa and the African diaspora all over the world, those who were dispersed or are descendants of those who were dispersed by way of the numerous slave trades that were happening on the continent. And so bridging that gap, making these connections, seeing the similarities is empowering. It's, you begin to learn and see and understand things on a different level. And I just watch people transform on all these trips. I just watch it happen. I could, if some of the stories, some people have shared with me in confidence, but I was having a conversation with one person, and the gentleman said, I realized that I didn't even want to embrace my own African side. He said, I wanted to be, this is what a brother said this, he said, I wanted to be white. He said, I wanted to be a white man. I did everything to try to live up to be a white man. He said, because I was ashamed to be an African. He said, but when I come to this continent, he said, I got some things I need to change. This is what the brother said. Brother said, 60 years old. This is what he said. He said, I wanted to be a white man. And he said, until I got here, and you could just see his whole, I just kind of watched, he walked off, and I just kind of looked at him, and he was just reflecting, he was looking around. And he was like, wow. Now, when a brother admits that he wanted to be a white man, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
But that's transformative. And now he's like, he said, I have to tell everybody, no, I'm bringing people, I'm doing this because, and that was nothing, no one prompted him or made him feel a particular way. He just was in the environment. He could see for himself. He could see it. And so we want you to see for yourself. Who knows how it will touch you? Who knows what next levels on the other side of these trips? Who knows? But you got to go to see.
Gotta come and see it. Yeah, so like let's unlock that adventure and let's check this box on your bucket list, right? Let's check this box on your opportunity list. I don't like that word either. We're gonna use positive language, right? We're gonna check this box on your opportunity list and head down to South America, the largest African population really on this side of the Atlantic in one country, going to Brazil. So let's connect more of the story, get the history firsthand from the people, and just put a little bit, let's fill in a little bit more of that gap in our understanding of who we have been on this planet, so that we can remember who we must be. So final push, go ahead and sign up. Sankofa Experiences. $52.99 single double occupancy, $61.99 for single occupancy. The travel dates are September the 1st through the 10th, 2025. Spots are filling up. It's not quite full yet. We're going to get ready to make a serious push to fill out this trip. So make sure you put your $199 down, get your $300 off per person by midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. $150 off midnight Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. All right. I appreciate y'all joining us this evening. Again, if you have any questions, support at sankofaexperiences.com. Sister Ashley, thank you as usual for hanging out with us and working the background and making all of this possible. Good brother Jay, I don't know if you're getting up right now or you gonna take a nap or what's that?
I'm gonna take me a nice nap. I'm gonna take me a nice at 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 in the morning. We appreciate your commitment as always, brother, and making sure that we share the information with the people, give them opportunity to travel to African diaspora. So, thank you, good brother. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Hopefully, you join us in Brazil. Good night.